Hello, everybody. It has been a while since I have done a live video on YouTube. I hope you can hear me okay. Let me know if the sound is weird or anything and we can get that fixed. I just got back from California a little bit ago, so that's where I have been. I just uploaded a video yesterday, but before that I was gone for a couple weeks. So that is where I was in California, just on a little vacation. This is Juno, by the way. He is joining us today. I have some boy. So I just kind of wanted to chill and talk to you guys, and I also wanted to talk about, of course, lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences and the easiest way to accomplish those, because I feel like a lot of us have a lot of time right now, and so I kind of wanted to break down the lucid dreaming success list, I guess you could say. Everything that you would need to do to induce consistent lucid dreams, and then I have an out-of-body experience technique, which is personally my favorite one, because it's really easy. It's really easy, and even if you've never had an out-of-body experience before, you can still use this technique and get results, because it's literally all about timing. Really is what it comes down to in practice and consistency. You gotta remember, when practicing lucid dreaming or out-of-body experiences, you're literally teaching yourself to be conscious in the unconscious. So if it's taking you a second to have those lucid dreams or those out-of-body experiences, that's totally normal. You are literally building a new skill and learning to be conscious in the unconscious. So be patient with yourself, but literally it should take 30 days or less with consistent practice. It's almost like you have to obsess over it for a little bit until it becomes kind of like a habit. For me, when I was learning how to lucid dream, for example, forever ago, I kind of taught myself how to do it, but it took me a lot of time because I kind of had to figure out what worked, what didn't work, but I was literally obsessing over lucid dreaming, and so I started to talk about lucid dreaming to other dream characters in my dream, and that's a clear sign that it's starting to become a part of your consciousness, but you just need to integrate a little bit more awareness. So we're going to kind of go over that today. Let me know if you have any questions. Hello, Alex. How are you doing? Thank you so much. Good to be back. I'm excited to make some more content. I have a lot of stuff planned. I also want to start making lucid dreaming hypnosis tracks and out-of-body experience hypnosis tracks and stuff like that. So that should be coming soon. But if you guys have any questions while we're talking about this, just let me know. I know that some of this information you guys are already integrating, but I really want to answer anything that you guys are wondering about when it comes to lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences, and also how we can tie this into even building success and wealth in our life. That's what I've been studying actually for the past little bit, is neuroscience and quantum physics and how that ties into lucid dreaming and subconscious programming, and how we can actually use these deep states of consciousness to change our personal experience or our personal reality in waking life. So it's super interesting how it's all connected. It's really, really dope. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that more in the future on this channel as well, just how you can use lucid dreaming to attract success or wealth or new ideas, creative, whatever it is. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, or even just creative peeps that want to use this practice to help elevate them in other parts of their life. So that's what I kind of want to help out with. Hello, Silas, Philip, how are you guys? Thank you so much for joining. So first, we're just going to talk a little bit about lucid dreaming. Again, let me know if you have any questions, but it's basically a simple success checklist of what you need to implement basically to create consistent lucid dreams. And if anyone has any questions or how to kind of implement these step by step, I do offer personal mentorships as well, and also courses. I just want to throw that out there for anyone who is interested in that, and there should be links to that in the description, but I can also put them in after. I just came out with a new astral travel course and lucid dreaming. It's called Beyond Lucidity. It's advanced lucid dreaming practices and out-of-body experience induction, and actually for the next week I'm accepting emails if you guys have any recommendations or things that you would like to see in the course as far as specific videos or what you would like me to like teach, any techniques, anything at all, just send those to my email, which is contact.thelucidmystic@gmail.com, and I will be going through those within the next week, and then adding more to that new course that just came out. That way, like, I can make sure that everyone has a little bit of what they need in that course, if that makes sense. Hello, Corey. How is it going, dude? Good to see you. Okay, let's get going. And a lot of this stuff, like, you may have heard me talk about, but it is very, 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 very important when it comes to inducing lucid dreams. So the first one, you've definitely heard me talk about it, and that is a dream journal. A lot of people think that if they don't remember their dreams, they don't need to dream journal, and think of dream journaling as like practicing to build recall. So if we're going to practice something, even if we can't really do it at that time, we still need to like consistently try, right? So in the morning, just write down anything that you remember from sleep. Even if you don't remember any dreams, just write down anything that you remember from sleep. Did you wake up in the middle of the night? Did you toss and turn? Do you have like a song stuck in your head or anything like that? Do you remember seeing any like colors, or did you have any random thoughts? Like any of this you can actually write down in your dream journal. And the reason why that works is because you're basically training yourself to be conscious of what happens during sleep. So even if it's not a dream, it's still going to help you build up your recall, because you were able to recall those things from sleep. So you'll be able to build up your recall that way. You're going to start getting little pieces of dreams, and then more, longer dreams, more vivid dreams, and then it's just going to carry off from there. So literally just write down anything that you remember from sleep to start out with. Do that first thing in the morning, just with like the date and the time in your journal, and you'll notice like you'll only have to do that for a few days before you start having like consistent dreams to write down. Weird question. I had a very lucid dream where I requested life direction from a dream character. He led me to a door. Instead, my answer was behind the door, but I couldn't open it, and he wouldn't. So that's really interesting. Usually when that happens, that means that there's something that your subconscious has that it wants to tell you, or something that you need to know, but you may not be ready to receive it. So if you ever experience that again, because this happened with me as well, I asked about something from like a future event that haven't occurred yet, and I was led to this door, but it said caution on the door and it was locked. So at that point, you want to call out to the sky, or which represents the subconscious, and just ask like, what is it that I need to know that's behind this door, or that this door represents, or kind of like probe the dream with questions when you can't get into a door, because there's definitely a reason why, but usually it's because we're not ready to hear something, or we're not going to understand it in the consciousness that we're currently at. So it kind of takes some like probing sometimes with some questions, but you'll usually get some pretty interesting explanations for that kind of stuff. Just call out to, I would definitely recommend calling out to the sky, because dream characters, they can be helpful, but some of them are just representations of parts of our psyche, and the sky kind of represents your subconscious, so your inner mind, the 95% of our brain that we don't have conscious like interaction with. So there's a lot of information that you can get from calling out to the sky. So maybe try that. Can you help me? I can't lucid dream. It happens really rare spontaneously. I do a lot of reality checks, and I also try to do wild, but it just doesn't work. So there's one thing that I want to say about that, and it's most likely behind how you do your reality checks. Because reality checks, they're kind of misunderstood. A lot of people think that you just like do the check, basically, like ask a couple questions, count your fingers, and then like go about your day. But you actually have to like deconstruct the whole process of reality checks and build it up with awareness and a lot of critical thinking. So that's actually on this list that I want to talk about. So this is basically everything that you need to implement if you want to be able to lucid dream consistently. So dream journal is a given, like we've already talked about. You want a night routine. You want a nightly routine that you can do every single night. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Like you can literally just read some of your dream journal before you go to bed, maybe say a couple like affirmations, do a 5-minute meditation of what you want to experience in your next dream or lucid dream. come up with some sort of routine that you can do nightly based around dreaming, lucid dreaming, or out-of-body experiences, because that's going to be the most effective. We want to be thinking about lucid dreaming and out-of-body experience before bed and right as we wake up. We want it to surround our sleep bracket, because that's going to have the biggest impact on us, especially because that's when we're usually in hypnagogic and hypnopompic imagery as well, which is when our subconscious mind is open and our conscious mind is basically turned off. So right before you fall asleep and right as you wake up, that's the best time to use like affirmation, like mental rehearsal, anything that you want to basically attract as far as lucid dreaming out of body experience. So you want to make sure that you have a nightly routine. For example, mine, like I'll make a hot cup of tea, I'll read a book. I love to read, so I'll spend like an hour reading. Then I'll do yoga, maybe I'll meditate for 10 minutes, then I will read my dream journal, and then as I'm going to sleep, I'll have an affirmation for like what I want to experience, or like a question that I have that I want to explore in like my next dream or something. But you come up with little things that you can do every single night to create a routine. Constantly doing that routine is going to create a habit. And now that dreaming routine is now a part of your habit, and you don't even have to think about it. It's now subconscious. That's how you want reality checks to be as well, but it's scrap what you've learned about reality checks, because most of the time when I tell people about reality checks, we have to like literally deconstruct everything and like kind of explain it in a new way, because the way that people explain how to do reality checks sometimes is like not sufficient, and I don't want you guys to be spending all of your time trying to do something that's like not going to be very helpful. So I kind of want to explain how to do reality checks. And then morning routine, like we talked about, you want to have a morning routine. It could literally just be writing down your dreams. That's totally fine. Like in the morning, before I even put my feet on the ground, I will just write down the date and the time, and then write in my journal if anything happened. If I didn't remember anything, I just write, I didn't remember any dreams tonight. That's pretty much all you really need for a morning routine, unless you have more that you want to add into it. I know a lot of people don't have time in the morning, but make sure you at least have some sort of like nightly routine. Because I feel like that's the most important. What you're thinking about the most and the most often before sleep is most likely going to influence your dream. So if it's lucid dreaming related or out-of-body experience related, you could carry consciousness into sleep or spontaneously wake up in a dream, because that was the last conscious thought that you had before you went to sleep, if that makes sense. So here's where I want to talk to you guys about reality checks and how to get them to actually work, because like I said, there's a lot of information on reality checks, but a lot of it isn't very helpful. So I kind of want to explain it in a way that's going to make sense. So the reason why reality checks work is because you're learning to become conscious of weird things that happen in your waking life. It's not about checking to make sure you have 10 fingers and like trying to poke your finger through your palm and then like, okay, I did my reality check, I'm good to go. No, that's basically just something to add to the check. Like it's all about the mental check, which is the questions that you ask yourself and how curious you can actually make yourself about your environment. So, for example, you really want to really almost play a game with yourself and pretend like you could be dreaming. How would you prove to yourself that you were dreaming right now? Like how you're sitting right now, everything that's around you, say that there is a huge possibility that you could be dreaming right now, because there's still a possibility that this could be a dream. What would you use in your environment to prove to yourself that you were actually awake? As you can see, it's not just about counting your fingers, and you have to use your environment around you to actually confirm if you are awake or asleep. That's literally the point of these reality checks, and so that's what you want to do. And again, the most important thing is the mental rehearsal. So literally I'll ask myself a few questions throughout the day, but you really want to really internalize these questions. So how do I know that I'm awake right now? Is there anything weird about what I'm experiencing? Like, does everything look normal in my environment? Do I have the same bracelets on, the same tattoos? Everything seems pretty normal right now, I'd say. Everything seems pretty solid. Do I know where I am? Yeah, I'm in my house right now. Do I know who I'm with? Yep, I'm with Juno, my dog, right now. Where was I 10 minutes ago? I was getting ready to do my live stream, and before that I was eating, and before that I was doing yoga, before that I had a shower. And so you learn to recall your entire day backwards. And what that does is because if you start doing that in the lucid dream, you're not going to be able to recall your day because you're not going to know how you got there, if that makes sense. So it's all about becoming conscious of your entire day and your surroundings and learning to tell when something is off. The reason why we use physical objects like our hands, for example, is because our hands should look the same every time we look at them. Usually, I hope so. I mean, if you're awake anyways. And so when you get used to really analyzing what this looks like and you start to actually do that several times throughout the day, you're going to do this in the dream. Your hands will most likely just pop up in the dream, and then you'll be able to tell that the lines are off or they're fuzzy, but it all comes down to how you do the reality checks in waking life. Because if we're not really paying attention when we do them in waking life, we're not going to pay attention when we do them in the dream either, because we've gotten to the habit of not really paying attention, if that makes sense. So if you kind of like hurry and go through the motions of reality checks when you're awake and not really pay attention, you're going to notice that you start to do that in the lucid dream. You just start to, okay, yep, looks like I'm awake right now, and you don't even notice. And then you wake up and you get super frustrated because you had it. You were right there. But the thing that really creates consistent lucid dreams is the awareness. Because imagine going into a dream, you're not conscious at this point, but you look around and you're like, something seems kind of off. This isn't usually how I feel, and things don't usually look this way. I don't actually think I know where I am either, or who I'm with. Is this a dream? And then all of a sudden it creates a spontaneous lucid dream. And the way that we can make that happen over and over and over is if we can start to ask those questions in waking life. Really be analytical. Like, I know it sounds silly sometimes, like, I know that I'm awake, like, why would I pretend that I'm not? But it's because you never know. And if we all did this practice constantly, we would all have lucid dreams every single time. But the reason why we all don't get lucid every night is because we're used to basically running on autopilot, because we always assume that we're awake, right? And so we start to just assume that we're awake when we're dreaming. So we have to switch the roles now, and basically undo that program and start to become like more conscious during the day, and that will create consistent lucid dreams. I promise you, you don't even need the induction techniques. Those are literally just bonuses. If you can master dream journaling and conscious awareness, which is reality checks, but sometimes I don't like using that word because it's literally just about building awareness. If you can do those two things, you will literally have consistent lucid dreams without even trying, without waking up and doing any induction techniques. I hardly ever wake up to do an induction technique because I'm spontaneously getting lucid because I've kind of built the habit of awareness. And I know it seems like a lot of work at first, like, oh, I have to check in like 9 to 10 times a day to see if I'm awake, but it's only because you're trying to train your brain to be more conscious. It's only because you're building a habit, you're building a skill. It's like playing the guitar. Once you know how to play the guitar, it's basically like you could do it in your sleep almost. Like you've become so familiar with it that you don't even have to try. That's how it becomes with reality checks. You're just automatically aware, and you're just automatically more critical of your environment, and you're going to realize when something's off. If you want to take this to the next level, then anytime when you're awake, anytime you see something weird happen, maybe you see like a weird license plate, maybe someone says something weird, or you just see something like odd in your waking life that usually doesn't happen, just ask yourself those questions again. Just ask yourself, that was kind of odd. How do I know that this is actually reality? Do I know how I got here? And just start asking yourself those same questions. But the key is you have to actually answer them in your head. Because if you just ask the question but don't really answer it, you're going to do the same thing in the lucid dream and then or in the dream and not even notice that you're dreaming. So I hope this makes sense, but literally This is the key to inducing consistent lucid dreams without even trying. I promise you, in all of my mentorships, this is what I help a lot of people build, because they're like, oh, I've been doing reality checks, but they're not working. I guarantee you the reason they're not working is because they're either not consistent enough, or you don't have enough awareness and critical thinking behind your reality checks. But it is something that automatically does work without fail, because our habits that we have in waking life become dreaming habits. Our habits are intertwined. This is why we usually act the same way in our dreams that we act in waking life. So if you want to act different in your dreams and be more conscious and realize when you're dreaming, you have to become more conscious and aware in waking life and try to decipher if you are dreaming or not. You basically have to become the person that you want to see in your dreams, if that makes sense, because usually a lot of us don't realize we're dreaming, and it's because we never stop to ask ourselves these questions in waking life. So that is truly the key to building awareness. I recommend trying to do reality checks like anytime you remember, like maybe every hour or so. But if you randomly think, oh, maybe I should do a reality check, do not ignore that. If you get that random thought, definitely do it, because that's showing that it is now becoming a program, like a subconscious program in your mind, and you are starting to remember without an alarm or without having to write down, like, are you dreaming, on a sticky note or something. If you ever get that urge or that random mental reminder in your head to do a reality check, definitely do it, because that's showing that you are actually building the habit. And I promise you, if you literally dedicate to just dream journaling and creating consistent, like, awareness and critical thinking in waking life, that is all you will need to lucid dream. I promise you. Let's see. Same happened to me. It was a gate though. I tried to open it. Oh wow, and you got electrocuted? Oh my gosh. Is it possible that it might sometimes help to take breaks from attempting to lucid dream if you find yourself in a dry spell? Or would you advise to stay consistent? So I wouldn't ever just like give up necessarily, Silas. What I'd recommend doing is observing what you're doing. Because a lot of the time we need to kind of rewrite what we're doing. If we're trying the same technique every single night, we probably need to try another technique. But at the same time, what I would recommend doing, which is going to literally fix all of your issues with this, is creating steady dream recall. So being able to remember your dreams every single night, which is literally so easy to do, I promise. Even if you've never remembered dreams your entire life, you could still build it back in about a week or so. So that's the first thing that I would concentrate on. I don't know if you can hear that dog barking in the hallway. The second thing is literally building up consistent critical thinking skills in waking life and reality checks. Like literally just asking yourself those questions. That's basically it, and really being conscious of your environment. You don't even really have to do the reality checks, you know? They are helpful. Like for me, I will literally count my fingers, make sure I have 10, I'll look away because of course the dream has a hard time replicating what it just saw, so it's almost like trying to catch the glitch or something. And then I'll count again, I'll make sure the lines of my hands are solid, okay, and you want to observe the result. So I am pushing my finger on my palm. What is the result? It is not going through. Okay, and it seems pretty solid. The reason why you want to observe the result is because if you get in the habit of not observing the result, you're going to start doing that in your dream, and it's going to go through, but you're not even going to notice because you're not used to observing the result, if that makes sense. So anything you want to do more of in your dreams, like be more conscious, actually realize when reality checks show up, you got to start building that in waking life. But Silas, those are the main things I would concentrate on. I would maybe do like 1 or 2 techniques a week as far as induction techniques, because if we're doing the same techniques over and over and over, they're probably going to stop working because our consciousness is going to get used to it. I would try waking up at different times for your technique. I would try going to bed like even 30 to 60 minutes earlier. I would just play with it. I would just experiment with it, see what works, see what doesn't work. But I can tell you right now that dream journaling and reality checks, or just building consistent like awareness and critical thinking, that is going to be your best friend, and you will literally not even have to try if once you get those down, because it will be a habit to become conscious. You know, it's lucid dreaming isn't just about getting conscious in your dreams. I really do think it's lucid living. Like you really have to become more conscious even during the day to be able to have conscious dreams. So it's literally kind of like a lifestyle. So just becoming conscious of the unconscious things that you do throughout the day. So like being able to like observe your habits, or like literally just observe your environment. We usually just like we drive to work, but we don't remember the drive there, right? It's because subconsciously we got there. We weren't paying attention. So we're kind of trying to reverse that, if that makes sense. Yeah, dream journaling will definitely help the clarity of your dreams, how colorful they are, how frequent they are. Eventually you're going to start having like movie dreams, you know, those like really long, like really clear dreams. They're like actually really insane. That's what it will start to build. So all of this, literally dream journaling and the consistent like reality checks, critical thinking, all of that, everything within lucid dreaming can be pretty much worked on through those two things. Brilliant. Thanks for the advice, Haylee. Yeah, we'll give it a try. Awesome. Sounds good. Definitely let me know if you have any questions. And again, guys, I just came out with my new Beyond Lucidity course. And I'm going to be adding even more videos to that. But even if you're signed up for the course before I add the videos, they're just going to pop up there. But it is called Beyond Lucidity. And I'm also offering one-on-one mentorships and courses now through the same link. So if you're wanting to go just check out everything I have available, there is the link. What am I drinking? I am drinking chamomile tea. It has a little bit of honey and lemon juice in it. Well, lemon wedge, so kind of same thing, but it's really nice. Yep, and my cool little mug I got from Ireland. But yeah. There is that link for you, my friends. And that's oh yeah, and then the last thing that I have for the lucid dreaming success list is just learning your REM stages, and that happens every 90 minutes. And the REM stages get longer and longer, so that's your sleep stage in which you dream, have sleep paralysis, have out-of-body experiences. And so if you can learn to be conscious of when that happens, you can actually wake yourself up during that stage of sleep anyways and consciously go back into it. So basically when you wake up in REM sleep or REM dreaming sleep, your brain pauses that stage of sleep. So as soon as you go back to sleep, you're going to resume dreaming sleep. But the trick with doing that is keeping your mind slightly conscious. That way when your body starts to go back into dreaming sleep and you feel your body go to sleep, you're conscious in the unconscious now, which means you can induce a lucid dream at will. You could do just self-hypnosis if you wanted, or you can have an out-of-body experience. So literally consciousness in the unconscious is really the key to all of that. What do you think about mugwort? Mugwort is really awesome, actually. I've only tried mugwort tea. I haven't tried like any supplements or anything with mugwort, but I really love that. Galantamine and valerian root. So if there's anyone out there who has insomnia, I wouldn't take melatonin, because the supplements in melatonin, there's so much condensed melatonin in there that our body actually can't break it down. And so it actually starts to disrupt our sleeping cycle. So for anyone out there that's had a little trouble sleeping, just go on Amazon and get valerian root. It comes in like a big bottle of tablets for like $10, and it lasts forever. And I take like I tried taking 2 tablets an hour before bed one time, but I was so tired the next day. So it shows that it does work, because I was literally out the whole night. But I think 1 is good for me personally. So take 1 to 2 tablets like an hour before you go to sleep if you have insomnia. But I also noticed that it helps with dream recall as well. So maybe that's something to try. So now I kind of want to get into the astral projection technique. And it's similar to the one we've talked about before, but I want you guys to know how like it's literally down to just like fundamental habits and techniques and waking up in certain stages of sleep, and of course having a specific mindset when it comes to this. So these are all things that anybody can do. It just takes practice. And so I really want to help make it like really easy for you guys to have out-of-body experiences. Oh, let me see if I have the book I was going to have. This one anyways. Okay. So for anyone, wait, adventures. Okay, wrong one. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm back now. So I grabbed the wrong one. This is called Journeys Out of the Body from, I almost said Marilyn Monroe, Robert Monroe. And it's a really cool book. He basically is like the pioneer of out-of-body experiences. And it's almost like his diary of like discovering that he can do it. And it's so wild. And if there's anyone who's like wanting to find more like just like inspiration or motivation or anything for out of body experiences, this will like blow your mind and get you like really ready to get things done, you know, to start practicing this. But even just reading that book, I would start to have a couple experiences. It's probably just because like we start thinking about it a lot, and then we start to like enter lighter sleep, and so we like have sleep paralysis easier and stuff. At least that's what happened to me. But I want to get into the technique as well. What up? How's it going? Thanks for stopping by, my friend. I appreciate it. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, so step number 1. I recommend going to bed early. So again, this is to induce an out-of-body experience. I recommend going to bed at least 30 to 60 minutes early. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it really does. Like it's a huge difference. I notice even if I'm not really remembering dreams, if I go to bed even like 30 minutes earlier for some reason, my dream recall is just like up. Like, so definitely try that. Go to bed like 30 to 60 minutes earlier. And then I recommend like waking up around 4 a.m., but it also really depends what time you go to bed. So I'd probably recommend waking up after 4.5 hours, because that's when one of your longest REM stages are. But keep in mind, if it takes you like a half an hour to fall asleep, make sure to like put an extra 30 minutes on your alarm, because it has to be like full sleep, if that makes sense, like 4.5 hours of full sleep in order to enter that REM stage. So let's see, if you woke up at 4, so 11:30. Yeah, so if that works for you, cool. If not, then just set your alarm for 4.5 hours after sleep. Of course, take into account the time it takes you to fall asleep. But let's say for the sake of this, you're going to bed at 11:30. Is it 11:30? Yeah, 11:30, and you're gonna wake up at 4 a.m. Sweet. Once you wake up from your alarm, there's 2 things you can do. It depends if you're a light sleeper or you fall asleep like really fast, or it takes you a long time to fall asleep. If you have a hard time going back to sleep, if you're someone that has a hard time going back to sleep, then you're going to want to stay in bed, but maybe just sit up and stay there for a couple minutes, because you want to be able to be relaxed enough to fall back to sleep, but you don't want to fall immediately back into sleep. So if you're someone that like once you're up, it's very hard for you to get back to sleep, then maybe just stay in bed, like maybe keep your eyes closed and just like sit up for a couple minutes. That way you can stimulate your mind a little bit and build some awareness, but you're not like super awake like and can't, relax and go back to sleep. If you're someone that falls asleep very, very easily, you'll want to get out of bed and stay up for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. You can literally just like sit there and chill. Maybe you want to like read in your journal or something, like your dream journal, maybe read a book or something. The point is you want to like stimulate your mind a little bit from wakefulness, but you don't want to like completely wake yourself up, because then we're not going to resume back into REM sleep and we're not going to be able to induce an out-of-body experience. So you're going to want to stay up for like 15-ish minutes if it takes you some time to fall asleep. And then you're going to lay back down on your back. And this process isn't going to take too long. It really depends. Maybe it takes like 15 to 20 minutes. But you're going to want to lay on your back, completely relax, and you're basically going to wait for hypnagogic imagery. Hypnagogic imagery is what happens when your conscious mind starts to turn off and your subconscious mind starts to open, and you'll start to see like lots of colors, maybe images. Some people see actual like scenes or like pictures during this, but you also want to make sure you're laying on your back. I found the most success in that anyway, but I've also induced sleep paralysis on my side, on my stomach. I just think it's a lot easier on my back. But also I think that's because I normally don't sleep on my back. So you want to be in a position that you don't normally sleep in, but that you can get really, really comfortable in, if that makes sense. So you're going to relax. For me, it's on my back. I have my eyes covered with like a cloth or something, or like a sleeping mask. And you're going to completely relax. and just let yourself breathe, and you're going to start to notice these colors, and that's your mind kind of turning off, your subconscious is opening after like maybe 15-ish minutes. 15, 20, sometimes 30, it really depends. You kind of get in this stage where you don't really pay attention to time, if that makes sense. You don't really notice. You're going to start to feel like tingly and heavy. And this is your body falling into sleep. As we've talked about, it's going to feel really, 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 really heavy. And then what's going to happen, it's so annoying, it's called the rollover signal. And this is basically when your body is trying to check if you're actually awake or if you're asleep. So it's going to send you urges to like itch and move and roll over. And it really, really sucks because it's really hard to ignore sometimes. Because it's like so intense, you have to itch it. But you'll notice if you go up to like move or itch, the urge is going to completely go away before you even itch, because it wasn't a real itch. It was your body being like, oh, okay, you are awake. Okay, just wanted to check. No problem. Well, I won't put you in sleep paralysis. I just wanted to make sure. But we want to trick our body into thinking that we are asleep. So when we get these urges to move, roll over, itch, we're going to ignore them and pretend like we are asleep. And this takes a few times. It is a little bit hard to completely ignore this signal at first because it is very intense. But this will only last maybe 5-ish minutes. And right as you get through this rollover signal, you'll notice, because like your itches will just automatically go away. And all of a sudden, you'll feel like this heaviness, like, and that's because your body's now going into lockdown. Like, you're going full into sleep paralysis. It's fine. Everything's good. It's just a little bit like intense. Everything's okay. You're gonna start to feel these tingling. For me, it starts at my toes and works its way up. And this is my body falling asleep. It literally feels like your foot fell asleep or something, or like, I don't know if you can hear my neighbors up there, but they're like banging. But it also feels like you hit your funny bone or something. I don't know. It feels like that on your entire body. Can you hear that? Just those knocks. Once you start to feel this tingling, you're gonna start to probably feel a little bit of a pressure on your chest, and this tends to scare people sometimes, because they're like, oh my gosh, there's someone in my room, there's someone holding me down or something, and they start to freak out. The only reason that happens is because our diaphragm doesn't need to take in as much air when we sleep. We don't need as much oxygen. And so we're going to feel our body relax. We're going to feel those muscles relax when we are in this state, because we're observing ourselves sleeping pretty much. So we're not, of course, our body's not going to act the same way. We're observing ourselves in a different state than we usually do. So if you feel that pressure on your chest, know that there's no one holding you down, even though it can seem like it, because you're half dreaming, half awake. So you're, depending on your emotional response, you might experience some like images or hallucinations or dream images around you. But you can change that with your emotions. Whatever you emotionalize with materializes. So you can kind of keep that in your mind, that it is a thought responsive state. And when you are in sleep paralysis or in the out of body state, or even in the lucid dream state, if there's something that's happening that you want to change, you have to change your emotional response to said thing or focus on something else, because you're half dreaming, half awake, and you're in a very thought responsive state. So your thoughts and emotions will automatically manifest in your experience. And that is how it is in waking life as well. We do live in a thought responsive universe, but it's not instant. You know, we don't see what we think about instantly in front of us. But in the lucid dream, sleep paralysis, and out of body state, we do. That's why we really have to stay focused. We really have to keep our thoughts organized, because whatever we do think about or emotionalize with will materialize in our experience. So at this point, you may feel, the pressure on your chest. You're going to feel vibrating, maybe some tingling. You might see some like images. At this point, I'm getting really excited, because this is where I'm like, oh my God, I did it. I'm so excited. Like, I did it. Like, to me, it's nothing scary, probably because I've been through it a lot, but also I just am very fascinated with sleep stages and how the brain works and how the body works. And so I get kind of hyped, like I get kind of stoked when I induce sleep paralysis. And that's what you have to train yourself to do. If you're someone who has a lot of fear built up around sleep paralysis, know that it's just your conscious mind fearing the unknown because it doesn't understand what's happening. Once you learn about this stage of sleep and why your body does what it does and how you can actually utilize it to induce lucid dreams or out-of-body experiences, it starts to become less scary and more exciting, and you actually want to induce it. So learn, because it's something that happens naturally every single night anyways, maybe like 4 to 5 times a night anyway. So it's not something that's like out of the ordinary or like something that like the body's not used to doing. We go into sleep paralysis 4 to 5 times every night, every 90 minutes actually. So you're literally just becoming conscious of a natural process. My vibrations was so intense, my teeth was chattering. It was crazy. It is so crazy. People really don't. For those who haven't experienced waking sleep paralysis, you don't know how intense it's going to be until you're in the experience. You're like, oh, will I know when I have sleep paralysis? Will I miss it? No, because you'll be in there and you'll be like, oh shit, this has to be sleep paralysis. Like, this is so intense. You'll literally feel the whole bed like vibrating or shaking. You will literally feel like your heart is beating out of your freaking chest, but it's not. It's like all kind of a play on the mind. Even though it is happening, it feels way more intense than it probably actually is, but you'll see what I mean when you have it. But once you start to feel those strong vibrations, you can't really breathe. I wouldn't recommend trying because you're gonna wake yourself up. Your body does this every night, remember, so if you are taking really shallow breaths, just know that the body's naturally doing what it usually does anyways, and just to relax in that experience. Now, there's 2 things that will happen here. So for me, I will start to see through my closed eyes. And I have a sleeping mask on so I can tell when it's actually an out-of-body experience and not me like having my eyes actually pried open, because you can convince yourself, oh, my eyes are actually open, it's not my astral eyes. But if you feel like a sleeping mask on you, it's hard to like, convince yourself that you're awake. So you're either going to start to see through your closed eyes at this point, or what you want to do here, there's 2 different methods. So we can do the rollout like we talked about. Once you feel those super heavy vibrations, once you pass the rollover signal, once you feel the kind of heaviness on your chest, you are ready to have an out-of-body experience. So there's 2 different things that you can do at this part. My favorite one is rolling out of body, because like some people like the rope technique where you imagine like a rope above your bed, or like the floating technique. My physical body has never done that, so it's sometimes hard for me to like visualize it really, really clearly, or at least convince my mind that it's actually happening. You have to have a visualization so vivid that your brain actually thinks it's happening, and that's how you get out of body. So when you're imagining rolling out of your bed, you have to truly, really visualize what it would feel like to roll out of your body. Every inch of the experience, every second of the experience. What does it sound like for you to roll out of bed? Like, what kind of like textured sheets do you have? Like, how would it feel on your hands pushing yourself up? What would it feel like just like literally slip out of bed and fall on the floor? Like, you really have to like rehearse it in your head very, very, very vividly over and over and over, because again, your brain can't tell the difference between what you're imagining and what's actually happening. So you want to convince your body that it is actually rolling out of bed, because that's how we shift our perception from where our physical body is to where our mind thinks our physical body is. That is the key. So we can either do that through the rollout method, or we can do it through what's called the perception switch technique, or it's called the target technique. What you want to do for this, now you may have to like prep for this, like before your technique, and actually go into another room, but you basically want to go into another room that you're not going to be doing your technique in. So my bedroom is in here, so I'm going to want to observe something probably like out here. Basically, you want to become so familiar with the space that you're able to really visualize it when you're in meditation. So like my couch is over here, and like my TV, and I have artwork over here, and my porch is over here. So maybe I would want to completely visualize this environment, look at all the textures, colors, pieces of furniture, artwork, and create such a clear picture in my mind that when I'm in sleep paralysis and I'm in my meditation, I can visualize being right here instead. And you want to do that as vividly as you can. That's the key, is disassociating with what your physical body is doing and visualizing something so vivid that your brain assumes you're actually over there instead of over there. And all of a sudden you'll see your vision clear up, and you'll actually be where you were visualizing instead of where your physical body is. Like that's as simple as I can really make it, and it really is that simple. There's just lots of different techniques to do it, but it's just like in sleep paralysis. You're tricking your mind, or you're tricking your body into thinking that you're actually asleep when you're not. So in an out-of-body experience, you're tricking your mind to think that it's somewhere that it is not. That's like a really, I think, a good way of putting it, because you want to visualize somewhere that you've been to probably at first. So somewhere maybe your mom's house or something, like your childhood house. If you can visualize that super well, maybe just your living room, or like a park or something that's down the street, or something that you have seen so many times that you can replicate it very, very clearly in your mind. You're basically going to do that in sleep paralysis. So you can do the rollout technique, which is like actually visualizing the movement of getting out, or you can do the perception technique, which is actually visualizing like a different area that you can see that your physical body is not actually at. And this is really trippy because I did this the other day. Like my bedroom's right here, like I said, and I visualized being in the other room across the other side of my house. And I was visualizing it so freaking vividly in my meditation that I actually convinced myself that I was over there. You know, when like you're like intaking this room, okay? Like you see what's going on around you, and you close your eyes and you can still feel it around you. Like you can feel the space that you're surrounded with. Like even though my eyes are closed, I know the couch is right here. You know, I can feel the couch here, and like I can like just feel out the room, if that makes sense. I literally started to do that from like a different perception. So even though I was in my room, I was like meditating and pretending I was in there, I actually started to sense that room. I actually started to feel that I was in that room. And next, once I keep doing that, I'm going to see that I am in that room. Once I keep doing that, I'm going to be able to maneuver through that room without my physical body. And this probably sounds so wild to some people. Girl, trust me, I know. Like, how do you think it was when people meet me for the first time? Like, hey, what do you like to do? Like, what are your hobbies? Think about the stuff that I had to say. Like, I know that it sounds kind of crazy and out there. But science has been showing us that this is possible. We can do so many things just through our conscious awareness, through our mind. And energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred. And consciousness is energy, which means it never dies and it was never created. It was always there. It just transforms and takes shape, which means that, hey, we can travel to different multidimensional planes of reality. We just can't bring our physical body with us because our physical body is way too dense to take into, other dimensional planes of reality. This is a 3D dense body for a 3D dense environment. And when we want to go higher in dimensional planes, we're going to have to be lighter and not have so much physical matter to take into those experiences. I hope that makes sense. But those are literally, that's like my favorite way to have an out-of-body experience. And we're definitely going to talk about more ways in the future, especially like morning techniques as well, because I found a lot of success around morning techniques. But I want to hear what you guys want to hear about on this channel for sure. Like if you guys have any recommendations or you have any questions or anything that I could make a video around, please let me know, because I really, really, really do value you guys. Every single person who has spent time just chilling with me today, or who even just checks out the videos on my channel, I really, really do appreciate it, and I really appreciate you and your input. And so if there's anything that you want to see in the future, like definitely, absolutely let me know. Glad to catch you live. I know, it's so good to see you. I know, it's been a while. My biggest issue is saliva. Oh, I know. That was the worst. About the time things begin to spin, I realize what's going on, and I feel a drop heading to my throat. I know. And then you're just thinking about it constantly. You're like, oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my... and you just feel this saliva like piling up in your mouth. Trust me, I've been there and it is so frustrating. But I'm gonna tell you, the thing that made that worse more than anything else was me thinking about it. And it's so weird to say like, oh, just don't think about it and it won't be an issue. But really, like once I was so into my like meditation or something that I didn't even notice. And one thing that actually helps me with the saliva thing, because sometimes you feel like you're gonna choke on it. Like like I know how it feels and how annoying it is. So one thing is, right as you're about to get sleep paralysis, like you feel the heaviness, you feel the tingling, what you're gonna do is flip on your side. Like, just immediately flip on your side. Number one, that almost tells your body, okay, I give up, I'm going to sleep, good night. So sometimes it puts you into sleep paralysis faster, but also the saliva will be able to like kind of pool in your cheek, and you won't have to like worry about like choking on your saliva or something. That was one of my biggest problems, honestly. Especially when I was first starting, because I was like, how the hell do I get past that? Like, it is such an annoying feeling, and it takes all of your awareness, and that definitely has stopped so many experiences. So the best thing I could think about is be so into your visualization that you don't notice the saliva, or right as you feel the heaviness, you feel like the sleep paralysis is about to kick in, just flip on your side really fast. And that's what I do anyways, but everyone has a different way. Yeah. I'm doing it. I'm totally smiling listening to you right now, MT, you're great. When I have lucid dreams, I know that I can do everything, but when I summon people, they aren't the same as I wanted, and sometimes I can't get the thought out of my mind that something scary is behind me. So there's two things that I want to mention here. Number one, whatever you think and expect and intend to happen is most likely going to happen. But number two, when it comes to lucid dreaming, we shouldn't always be so focused on changing the dream, because keep in mind we're in direct contact with our subconscious mind. So there's a lot of information that we can actually find out from the dream. So instead of trying to change and alter everything and everyone in the lucid dream at first, try to understand like the concept of your dream, or like the symbolism behind these characters and these things that you're experiencing. And if you are experiencing something scary behind you, or you have a feeling that something scary is behind you, my best recommendation is to go towards it, because obviously we know that we're dreaming, so we're not going to get hurt anyways. And number two, anything that we fear is usually a part of like our shadow, which is something that we deny, suppress, or disown, and it's put into the subconscious mind. And habitually, when we have nightmares, we are trained and programmed to run away, even if we don't know why. So if we want to stop that program and we want to reverse the fear on a subconscious level, we need to get lucid in the dream and face whatever is scaring us and change the emotional response. So instead of fear, we create love. Try doing that, and I promise you, your experiences will change forever in your lucid dreams. Like, if you can ever get in contact with something that creates fear in the lucid dream, I promise you that is going to be one of the most transforming dreams that you can have. Because it's all of our subconscious stuff that we haven't been able to find or face or like own or like shed a light on is right in front of us now. And again, there's nothing to be scared of when it comes to dreaming, and that will also prep you for out-of-body experiences, because you're going to have to get rid of this fear barrier before you can have consistent out-of-body experiences. So I definitely recommend exploring that in the lucid dream first, and that will kind of like help you prepare for the out-of-body experience. But I hope that makes sense. I was having this conversation with my spouse last night. He told me you have to have the light on to see, and I said, I can see without my eyes. Yes, absolutely. And what scares us as well, a lot of people hear like, oh, the shadow, oh, that's like all bad. No, the shadow is basically something about ourselves that hasn't been illuminated yet. That's why it's called the shadow. And in the lucid dream, we have a perfect opportunity to talk to that part of ourselves and see what we've been holding back, denying, suppressing, disowning, that we've, anything. And it's so cool, the work. They're actually starting to use lucid dreams in therapy, guys. They're training certain therapists to teach their patients to use lucid dreaming, because a lot of these things that we have been told we need to go to someone else for, we can actually do ourselves. And that's one thing that I really am so excited about, is like, I want to empower all of you to know that you can literally experience anything that you want to, and you can literally change anything that doesn't serve you in your life for the better, truly. Can you astral project in the space you're currently in? So do you mean like in the physical environment? Like when you astral project, will you be like in your physical environment, or can you project outwards? So that's what you mean, then absolutely. As soon as you have an out-of-body experience, you're most likely going to actually appear in your realm, like you'll actually be in your room or like your house, and that's because you're in the densest plane of your out-of-body experience. It's called the astral plane. And that's because you went from 3D to 4D, so it's still pretty dense and groggy. It might be a little bit dark, but the higher your consciousness is, you'll actually experience more clear experiences, light experiences. Like you'll even meet beings like that are really like transformative. It's so crazy, but keep in mind your emotions are what run your experience. So how do you feel? What kind of like if you had like a scale for like super horribly depressed, really heavy energy to like, oh my god, this is the best I've ever felt ever, like I feel super, you know, like on top of the world, where would you rate your emotions right now and your energy? And you basically want to use that as a guide to when you should have an out-of-body experience, because if you are like feeling too, you know, heavy or negative or stressed, it might interfere with your experiences, but it might stop your experiences altogether. So you really want to like try to like vibe as high as you can, but really you want to like feel as like emotionally charged as you possibly can before these experiences, because that's also going to help with awareness. You know, if we're like kind of depressed or sad or stressed when we're having these experiences, we're probably not going to be able to control them really easily. And I've had experiences where I literally get thrown around the room. Like, I don't know if you guys have had those experiences. I've had an out-of-body experience one time. I wasn't sad, but maybe I just didn't have enough awareness. Well, I literally started to see through my closed eyes. Like, I'd see my room through my closed eyes. And everything was fine at first, but then I started to feel movement, and I was like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, like, I shot out of my bed, and I was, like, spinning on the ground and, like, being thrown everywhere. Like, I did not have any control, and I was like, what is going on? Because I was literally, like, being thrown all over the room. And it's hard for me to make sense of, like, what that experience was even, like, about, really. So that kind of happens when you don't have enough awareness. For lucid dreams, you just like can't control your lucid dream. I guess it's kind of the same thing. It's like you know that you're dreaming, but you don't have any control. It's kind of the same way with an out-of-body experience. You know that you're having an out-of-body experience, but you literally cannot control anything of like what's going on right now. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, it's all about awareness. And I want to tell you guys too, how we talked about earlier with dream journaling and like reality checks and creating like consistent awareness, that helps with out-of-body experiences a lot. Like, because that helps you remember all of your experiences, and you'll actually have really good recall to actually write those experiences down. But also practicing like reality checks and critical thinking and like consistent awareness will help you have consistent control in your out-of-body experiences. So it will really aid both practices, and you'll literally be able to master both at the same time. That's one thing that you'll find in my mentorships. If any of you ever like do mentorships with me or in my courses, I don't teach you just lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences. I teach you how to induce and use both simultaneously and switch to each state simultaneously, because they're very intertwined experiences, and they both are used for very similar things, but they also have their differences as well that are really useful together. So if there's anyone who is in my courses or my mentorships or anything like that, you'll notice that all of the work that I have, it's like how we can literally use these experiences interchangeably, which I really like. Plus, when you're in sleep paralysis, or when you know, and you're in the vibrational stage, you can kind of choose what kind of experience you want to have. And it just makes things a lot more fun. And plus, you literally get rid of like almost all your fear, because you've faced the deepest parts of yourself and your own psyche. And you've literally stepped so far into the unknown with out-of-body experiences that you're like, dude, I can conquer anything. Like, you just like feel so good. You feel like you literally broke through the fear barrier. Like, once you're through it, that's it, you're through it. That's literally what it feels like. I'm still looking forward to bedtime. Yes, and that's how you should be. That's how it should be, because that's also going to help with your experiences. If you're looking forward to it, if you're thinking about it, if you're creating excitement, you're creating the right kind of energy for it, and you will start to have like random experiences, if that makes sense. That happened to me, but no one was throwing me. Yeah, I don't know. That happened once or twice, and I'm pretty sure it was because of my awareness, but I thought it was funny. Do you have any tips for a beginner that's never done either astral projection or lucid dreaming? Yes, so the two things that I'd recommend is starting a dream journal, so writing down all of your dreams. I do have a video on that on my channel. And then learning to master like reality checks and consistent awareness. For anybody who has any specific questions, I do have like playlists on my YouTube channel, but I also wanted to let you guys know that so as you guys know, I offer 1 hour mentorships and full 30-day mentorships. So we basically work together one-on-one for 30 days. I also do offer online courses that come with the free session, but I also offer a tier on Patreon that comes with the free session as well. I wanted to tell you guys this to let you know that there's lots of different options that we can like communicate and that I can help you if the videos aren't exactly cutting it. I just want to make sure that I give you guys as many resources as possible for getting the information you need. So if anyone's interested in viewing any of my like mentorships, my courses, there is the link right there. But you can also email me specifically with any questions that you haven't been able to find in any of my videos or anything like that. But go where I would definitely concentrate on dream journaling, make that a part of your everyday practice. And then I think the video that I did is like the key to creating consistent lucid dreams. I would watch that one because that one is about the reality checks and creating that consistent awareness, and that's going to aid you heavily on that. Do you have any experiences with psychedelics? Yes, I've taken a few psychedelics. I think they're really, really interesting. Like literally out of this world. I think they're really amazing. Obviously it's not something I do all the time. I don't think any like kind of plant medicine or substance should be used constantly, but I love the huge psychological and physical and even emotional effects of those kinds of things that literally change lives. I projected from my bed to my kitchen, was able to see the time on the clock in the stove. It says 3:16, but when I returned, I checked my phone and it was 3:16. Oh, that's so weird. Sometimes time is so freaky in the lucid dream and out-of-body experiences. Doesn't even make sense sometimes. My wild attempts feel lucidish. I lay still 40 minutes and experience a shift in experience from the body to the mental world, and I can create things, but it doesn't feel lucid and no paralysis. So what it seems like is you might be in a deep state of hypnosis. So what I'd recommend doing is kind of changing the times that you wake up. So one thing I would do is any time that you wake up directly from a dream, that is a clear sign that you are in REM sleep. And that's when I would go back in and try this. I would also study your REM stages. So this happens roughly every 90 minutes of sleeps, but your longest REM stages are going to be after 4.5 and 6 hours of sleep. So you're going to want to wake yourself up during your REM stages, and you'll just kind of have to mess with that a little bit. Anytime, then this is why it's also important to build up your dream recall, because it helps you like recognize when you're in those stages, if that makes sense. Because if you're not remembering your dreams, you're not going to be able to tell when you're in dreaming sleep because you're not having dreams and dreaming sleep, and it makes it a little bit harder. So as you can tell, this is all kind of connected. But definitely start writing down your dreams. Notice when you go into dreaming sleep and just mess with a little bit, you know, a few techniques from there. I'd only do like 2 different techniques a week though. I feel much more rested after lucid dreams too. Is it lucid dreaming if you're mentally awake and can move your body but still seeing vivid dreaming images? It's most likely just because you're in a deeper state of hypnosis, which basically means your conscious mind is like slightly turned off and your subconscious is open. And when your subconscious is open, that's how people, you know, experience that stuff through deep meditation. They're not asleep and they can still move if they wanted, but their consciousness is in such a deep state that it creates these experiences as well. Plus, your brain can't tell if you're imagining something, dreaming something, or actually experiencing something. So when you start to visualize something really, really clear, your brain assumes it's actually happening and starts to make the experience even more real. That's like stabilizing in the lucid dream. Your brain can't tell if you're dreaming or awake, and once you start interacting with the lucid dream and rubbing things, it's like, oh, I can actually feel the experience, I can hear the experience, I can see it, so it must be real. So it starts to stabilize the whole dream and make it really crisp, clear, and vivid, if that makes sense. So it's most likely because you're in a deep state of hypnosis, but the perfect way to tell Gober is to start playing with your REM stages. I actually just did a video on that as well. I think it's just called like what is REM sleep and how to track it, I think. That will kind of help you break down REM sleep and tracking it. So a lot of this, as you can see, guys, is very like simple like methods and techniques. We just need to learn like to implement them. So I hope that this has helped a little bit. I definitely will be going live more though. I'm hoping to go live. So I go live like once or twice a week on my Facebook page as well. So if you're interested in heading over there, definitely check it out. I think it is just facebook.com/astral and lucid coaching, I think it is. But you can also find me on Haylee Lynn's Lucid Dream Team on Facebook, and that's like a lucid dreaming group full of tons of lucid dreamers. We share techniques, like we ask questions in the group. And if you're wanting to be in like a little community of lucid dreamers or people that are learning to lucid dream, definitely check out, it's called Haylee Lynn's Lucid Dream Team. Is using an audio recorder as effective as a dream journal? So I personally like writing in my dreams because I feel like there's something almost like, not hypnotizing, but there's something about writing that like opens this creative part of your brain, and as you're writing it, it allows more to kind of flow through. Plus, I'm kind of worried about like losing like the recording of my dream journal or anything, so I literally just keep it in a notebook. That way, like, it's all where I have it, it's right next to the bed, and I can create basically a huge library of my dreams eventually. You can use whatever works best. I do use an audio recorder if I'm really busy in the morning and I don't have time to write my dream down. I'll record my dream, and then later I'll just like go transfer it down. So personally, I like writing in a dream journal, like an actual paper, because you also want to study your dreams as well, so it makes it a lot easier. You want to be able to look for your dream signs, like what you're dreaming about consistently, what time you had this dream at. You know, you don't want to just write your dreams down in the notebook and forget it. You want to use that to like kind of analyze your dream and your sleep practice. So personally, I like using a notebook. It just makes more sense for me and it's just easier, but you can absolutely use what works best for you. So I like to use lucid dreaming to solve difficult problems. Any tips? So what I'd recommend doing, if you already know how to lucid dream, I would go into your lucid dream and I'd go in with an intention. So maybe have like a to-do list or something that you keep by your bed. That way you always have a plan when you're going into your lucid dreams. And I would call it to the sky, which represents your subconscious mind, and I would literally just ask out loud. That's the cool thing about lucid dreaming, is you can literally get instant answers from just calling out to the sky. Like, subconscious mind, how can I make more money in my business? Can you show me something creative that I am yet to create? Or what's the biggest thing? Like, you can literally ask anything. You can problem solve any issues with your subconscious mind, dream characters. The most important thing is just stating it out loud, and then the dream starts to kind of answer your question or kind of guide you to get the answers that you needed. So it's like so much easier in the lucid dream than it is in like just waking life, because we have to kind of figure out these answers, right? But in the lucid dream, you literally just ask your inner self and the answer comes to you. For some reason, it just is so much more fun too. What does it mean if you wake up and immediately go into a hypnosis state? That's normal, because as you're falling asleep, you go into hypnagogia or hypnagogic imagery. That's your subconscious mind opening and your conscious mind turning off. In the morning, as soon as you're waking up, you're going to experience hypnopompic imagery, which is your conscious mind turning on and your subconscious mind closing. Both states are a state of hypnosis, which is why right before bed and right as you get up are the best times to use affirmations, mental rehearsals, or visualizations based around what you are wanting to attract, manifest, or become. Whether it is sleep related or something that you want to attract in your waking life. But that's totally normal. Everyone enters a state of hypnosis as they're going to sleep and as they're coming out of sleep. So that's why you should definitely use those two states. to do, you know, mental rehearsal affirmations for lucid dreaming or out-of-body experiences. And you can also go back into sleep during those states. So for example, if you wake up and you're in hypnopompic imagery and you start to see these colors and these images, you can actually anchor yourself back into sleep using visualization and relaxing the body and actually go into a lucid dream that way. Of course, it's a lot easier and faster if you wake up in REM, but if you are in that hypnosis state, it automatically makes it a lot easier. Like I have a fear of what I might encounter in my lucid dream, I'm a little afraid of it, then you should absolutely encounter it. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. Everything in the lucid dream is nothing to fear, it's just your emotional perception of what is happening. Because something scares you and makes you want to run away in the lucid dream, most likely symbolizes something that we're not willing to face or something that we're used to running away from. So you really have to look at the symbolism behind your dreams. You have to ask yourselves why things are appearing, why am I running away from this, or why am I scared of this? And you have to be willing to interact with all parts of the dream because all parts of the dream are you. So by understanding more of the dream, you're understanding more about yourself, how you work, and how to actually like interfere with the programs that we've already been programmed with, if that makes sense. So if there's anything that scares you, or anything that creates fear, or if there's anything unknown that kind of makes you uneasy, then I would definitely explore it. You're gonna feel so good afterwards, and this is about knowing that nothing can hurt you, nothing can touch you. This is your world, you are the creator, you are the director of your experiences, and everything is meant to teach us something. And even though some things can be scary and cause fear, that fear has no foundation. It is literally just fear of the unknown if you think about it. Most of us fear something because we don't know what could happen. It could be this or it could be this, I don't know. And so once we break through that fear barrier, you're like, oh my God, I've been safe the whole time. In my lucid dreaming, in my out-of-body experiences, I have been in charge the whole time. And now that I've ripped that fear band-aid off, I am free to experience everything and anything that I'm meant to see now. And it literally changes your whole entire experience. Once you overcome fear, you won't have to worry about fear anymore because you broke through the barrier. So now you're out of fear and you're in love. And so now you won't experience anything on the lower vibration of fear because you're up here now that you've broke through fear. So that's why I recommend if you ever experience anything that makes you nervous or creates fear in your experiences, definitely go towards it. Because every time that we decide to run away or back out, we are further confirming our current conditioning around fear. So we basically have to train ourselves how to act differently. If our instinct is to run, because we're in survival, we have to train ourselves to kind of act differently in that scenario, if that makes sense. Thanks for doing these live videos. Thank you for sharing your awesomeness. Thank you guys for coming. I literally love you all so much, and I'm really glad we got to hang out. And of course, I'm sorry that it took so many weeks. I've been like working on that course and been working on so many things, but I definitely wanted to create consistency with going live, and I wanted to make sure that I could answer as many questions as possible and kind of cover lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences. But as you guys see, I am weaving like wealth and success content in here, but it's going to be something that you can explore through these as well and kind of build on. So I really want to build a lot around these topics. So let me know if you guys ever have any questions or anything at all. And again, you can always just shoot me an email if you have any questions that I haven't answered specifically. Can you talk a bit about the various levels of lucidity? Sometimes I feel like I'm very lucid and sometimes just a little bit. It's strange. I don't have the same degree of lucidity. So it's all based around awareness. Levels of lucidity is simply levels of awareness. So a layer 0 lucid dream is literally a regular dream. It's literally a regular dream. You're not lucid, it's just a regular dream. There is something called pre-lucid dream. So a pre-lucid dream is when you almost get lucid. So maybe you're about to do a reality check in your dream, but someone distracts you and you don't do the reality check. That was a pre-lucid dream because you had a chance to get lucid, if that makes sense. A level 1 lucid dream, so we have a pre-lucid dream, level 0, and a level 1. A level 1 lucid dream is where you kind of know that you're dreaming, but you don't have any control. So you know that you're dreaming, maybe you slip in and out of it, but you don't have control. Level 2 lucid dream is where you know that you're dreaming and you have some control, but you're not really directing the dream, if that makes sense. And a level 4 lucid dream is where you know you're dreaming, you do have control, and you can manifest some things, but you don't have you can't just manifest things at will. The last lucid dream, it's called a super lucid dream or a level 5 lucid dream, and you'll notice people have their own different kind of scales. But level 5 lucid dream is where you're totally conscious, you can manifest anything at will, you can literally just close your eyes and think about going somewhere and appear there. It's very conscious. So as you can see, there's literally steps, a pre-lucid dream, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can kind of look at the scale and be okay, how much awareness did I have? Did I know I was dreaming? Okay, how much control did I have in the lucid dream? And you can kind of figure out where you are on the scale. The thing to move up higher in lucidity is simply building more awareness. That is it. Building more awareness and stabilizing your experience once you're lucid, which comes down to awareness. So literally, it's all about awareness. So throughout the day, this is during your reality checks, becoming more conscious of your experience. When you're walking, say you're going on a walk or something, what can you hear? What can you smell? What can you taste? What can you touch? What is going on around you? Can you recall the last 10 minutes of your day? You want to become very conscious of your day and be able to recall it to yourself. When you're driving to work, you don't want to just show up to work and be I don't know how I got here. I know I drove here, but I don't remember anything about the drive here. You want to become conscious of the things that you've so long gone unconscious to, if that makes sense. So you literally want to become conscious in the unconscious. And that creates more control in your lucid dreams and creates more awareness. So that's automatically going to build up your awareness. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Someone requested to see my doggo. Okay, Juno. Okay. Doggy! Are you sleeping? Sit. Okay, come here. He just woke up, so he doesn't. Come here, Juno. Come here. He's so tired. Come here, Juno. Come here. They want to see you. They can't see you from there. Really? Oh, Gina. He's so sweet. I love him. He is the best. Yeah, his name is Juno. He's a German Shepherd Lab. I love him very much. What is your opinion of binaural beats? I actually make a few binaural beats. So I think they're pretty cool. It's literally a way to hack your brainwaves into different states, which is really helpful. I don't use them all the time, but I think they're really cool. Can some false awakenings be considered an OBE? So basically what I'd consider false awakenings is a pre-lucid dream. So you could have gotten lucid from these experiences. You can turn it into an out-of-body experience, but pretty much I would classify false awakenings as a pre-lucid dream, because if you get in the habit of doing reality checks as soon as you wake up, I'll write my dreams down and then I'll do a reality check. If you get in the habit of doing reality checks as soon as you wake up, every time you have a false awakening, you will automatically check if you're dreaming, which will lead to an instant lucid dream. So if you're someone that has false awakenings a lot, like I do, then I would definitely get in the habit of checking if you're dreaming as soon as you wake up. That way, as soon as you have a false awakening, you'll automatically do a reality check and get lucid. So I hope that makes sense. Are you at the point where you lucid dream whenever you choose? Are they all level 5 for you? Sometimes I don't lucid dream at all. It really depends. I'm to the point now where I don't have to even do reality checks, really. That's the cool thing about reality checks, is it's not something that you have to do consistently, like for the rest of your life. You build the habit, and then you kind of don't have to worry about it. So I have random lucid dreams that I don't really have to try to induce. Sometimes I will do a technique. I'll wake up early and then go into the other bed in the other bedroom and do a technique. So I usually have lucid dreams with spontaneously without having to do much because of just building that habit. But there are days where I still want to induce a lucid dream. I induce out-of-body experiences a lot. That's the main thing I focus on, because lucid dreams kind of naturally come now, and it wasn't like that. I had to like train myself, but after building the habit of the consistent awareness kind of thing, they happen spontaneously. But out-of-body experiences are what I have been concentrating on inducing, and once you start to induce like sleep paralysis and the vibrational stage over and over, you start to be able to know when it's going to happen, how long you have until it happens, what stage you're in sleep paralysis. Like, you start to become really familiar with it, so it will become second nature. That's kind of how lucid dreaming has come to me now. So now I'm just working on like inducing like out-of-body experiences, but sometimes they turn into a lucid dream. Like, sometimes you don't choose what experience you want to have, like one just happens, so you just gotta roll with it and be like, oh, okay, I was going for an out-of-body experience today, I guess I'm having a lucid dream. That's cool too. But yeah, I probably have four-ish lucid dreams a week, but it really does change. Especially based off like my habits, how late I'm staying up, like what information I'm like taking in, like if it's all business or if I'm like reading, like, hope that makes sense. But there's a few factors in there, but it's pretty normal now. So guys, that is going to be it for this video. I promise I will go live again soon. I'm thinking Mondays. Does Mondays work? I was gonna do Sundays like I've been telling you guys about, but I think I like Mondays. How does that work for you? Because I really appreciate all of you guys coming out, and I really would love to like hang out again. So if Mondays are a good time, then maybe we can schedule for maybe like next Monday or something. And if you guys have any questions, if you could either email me the questions or leave them on my most recent video, I'll answer all of those questions on my next live, if that makes sense. If you guys are interested in like 60-minute mentorships, 30-day mentorships, or any of my online courses, definitely check out the link right there, and I would love to chat with you and work with you. Again, if you have any questions, you can email me at any time, or just leave your comments on the most recent YouTube video, and then I'll go grab them from there, and then I'll use those for my next live. Monday's work, something to look forward to. I agree, Bill. Okay, so we're going to probably go live next Monday around the same time, like 5-6 p.m. Mountain Standard. And if not, I'll update you guys like on like a Facebook post or something. But can I learn how to lucid dream in your channel? I am new here. Raphael, welcome. And absolutely, yes, you can. On my channel, I guide people to inducing lucid dreams and out-of-body experiences in 30 days or less. So I have lots of videos out in different playlists that you can go through. The link that I just left down below, Raphael, if you are interested in looking at, you know, personal mentorships or the online courses that I have, definitely check them out there. I also wanted to let you guys know about, get it really fast, my Patreon. I just updated. If you are wanting to check out Patreon, there is the link for that. For one of the tiers, you receive a free one-on-one session with me every month, and then on 2 of the tiers you get 50% off on all of my mentorships and all of my courses, and there's tons of other benefits on Patreon as well, so you can just check out those links if that interests you. And yeah, I would love to work with you guys in the future, answer questions, and connect with you guys more, so let me know how I can help, and I'll be happy to do so. Guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining. It was really fun to talk to you today. Let's plan on me coming back next Monday around the same time. And again, if you have any questions, you can send them to my email, or you can just leave them on the most recent YouTube video, and I will answer those in the next live. I haven't really done Haylee's Lucidity School, that playlist, because I kind of want it to be more open. I did have, you know, certain videos for that, and I will probably still do occasional videos on that in the future, but I want it to be open, and I want to be able to chat with you guys and answer your questions. So, of course, thank you guys for your time as well. I appreciate you all so much, and I will see you later. And as always, I'm sending you endless love and endless lucidity.